Hi, welcome to my channel, Moving to Madison, Wisconsin. I'm your host, Mindy Kesnick, and today we are going to be comparing Madison and Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So let's start by taking a quick look at a map of Wisconsin. You will find that Madison is in south central Wisconsin. It is our state capital and it is right in the middle of the southern part of our state. Milwaukee is almost a straight shot to the east and it lives right on the shore of Lake Michigan. Milwaukee is the fifth largest suburb in the Midwest and by far the biggest city in all of Wisconsin. It comes in at around 570,000 people. However, in the greater Milwaukee area, you're looking at a population of closer to 1.5 million people. That's a big city for our area. Madison, however, is quite a bit smaller at only 270,000 people. Milwaukee is far more dense than Madison. However, in just the Madison downtown area, you will find that the Madison downtown is actually more dense than the Milwaukee downtown. Overall, though, Madison as a city is pretty well spread out, especially once you get out of downtown. Milwaukee, however, is a pretty dense city overall. Next, let's talk about the schools. I love following niche.com when I'm looking at school districts. That website gives lots of information. It gives ratings on schools. It gives a lot of just information about different suburbs in all kinds of different areas. So I checked out niche.com and it told me that Madison has about a B+ for its overall metro schools, where Milwaukee only scored a C. Now, that being said, that doesn't take into consideration the amazing suburbs that surround both Madison and the Milwaukee area. The suburbs of Milwaukee have really great school ratings in the A's and B's, easily. Some of them even rating at an A+. Some of these suburbs include Whitefish Bay, Brookfield, and River Hills. Now, you're going to pay a little bit more for housing in those areas, which we will talk a little bit more about housing at the end of this video, but you're looking at an average price of about $400,000 in those Milwaukee suburbs versus closer to $200,000 in the Milwaukee metro area. If you're interested in learning more specifically about the Madison, Wisconsin suburbs, I've got lots of videos that discuss Madison area schools and the suburbs, so check those videos out. As far as higher education goes, both cities have some really incredible opportunities for higher education. Madison, of course, is the home of the University of Wisconsin-Madison, an incredible school that draws thousands and thousands of people every single year. Milwaukee, of course, is the home to University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee, but they also have some really great private colleges in the Milwaukee area. One really popular private school in Milwaukee is the University of Marquette. That is a really great school and it's known for its great engineering program. So if maybe being in a college town is important to you, you're going to do fine in either Madison or Milwaukee. Let's talk a little bit about the economy and the difference between the economy in Madison and the economy in Milwaukee. According to bestplaces.net, the household income in Milwaukee is 36% less than the household income in Madison. And Milwaukee is 52% under the national average for income. The median household income for Madison is about $101,000. In Milwaukee, it's about $52,000. So that's a pretty significant difference. Again, a lot of these statistics don't take into the suburbs, and a lot of times in Milwaukee and in Madison, a lot of your upper scale communities are going to be found right outside of the city center. So in my opinion, it's a little bit deceiving. Both Milwaukee and Madison have some very upscale areas. They're just not a lot of times in the Madison or Milwaukee mailing address, I guess. Let's talk about the top employers. Both Madison and Milwaukee have a lot of employment at both of their hospitals. So in Milwaukee, you've got Freighter and you've got their Children's Hospital. Same with Madison, you've got the University of Wisconsin hospitals and clinics, and then also the Children's Hospital in Madison. So both communities have a very big presence of medical positions, medical employment. There's some other big employers outside of that, banks, IT, businesses, things like that. But for both Madison and Milwaukee, their biggest employers are typically their healthcare. We've got really amazing healthcare opportunities in this area. Next, I want to talk about arts and entertainment a little bit. Milwaukee has some world-class venues. for both the arts and music. They also offer some major league sporting events, which Madison cannot really offer. We have like the Madison Mallards, which are great, but it doesn't compare to the Milwaukee Brewers, that's for sure. Milwaukee also has over 50 museums, where Madison only has like 12. Both Madison and Milwaukee have some really incredible outdoor and indoor venues for different things like the arts and concerts. However, of course, with Milwaukee being just such a larger city, Milwaukee is absolutely going to win over Madison in the arts and entertainment venue comparison. Both Madison and Milwaukee have some pretty great zoos. Madison's zoo is totally free, which is really cool and exciting. But when something's offered for free, you kind of get what you pay for. I shouldn't say that because it's really a great zoo. But the Milwaukee Zoo is worth the hour trip for us Madisonians, at least once or twice a summer if you have small children especially, because the Milwaukee Zoo is really incredible. Also, one of Milwaukee's biggest events is Summerfest. I think that is something that's maybe heard of nationwide because it's a pretty big music venue that Milwaukee has been hosting for a bajillion years. And it's right on the lakeshore. It's a really, really fun, great opportunity to see some really big names, some of which are even free. And really all we have to compare to that in Madison is Bradfest, which is also really cool, but it doesn't compare to Summerfest. Again, another thing that draws Madisonians into the Milwaukee area is the amazing American Family Insurance Stadium, where we get to see the Milwaukee Brewers play. That actually does remind me though, I almost forgot about the Milwaukee Bucks. That's another really great, exciting, fun thing to do in the Deer District of Milwaukee. It's a great place to see that team play, and again, we just don't have a basketball team that compares to the Milwaukee Bucks in the Madison area. So we're happy to have Milwaukee just a short hour and 15-minute drive away so that we can see some of these big city things without having to live in the super densely populated city of Milwaukee. As for the outdoors, Madison and Milwaukee are probably considered fairly similar. I think that Madison, just because it is so much more spread out, has more opportunities for hiking and parks and things like that because we just have more green space than Milwaukee Metro does. However, obviously with Milwaukee being right on the shore of Lake Michigan, there's a lot of really beautiful parks right there that host a gamut of different activities and outdoor things all summer long. Madison has been noted to be the number 1 or number 2 fittest cities in all of the United States. So that being said, Madison obviously does pour into its lakes and its parks and the bike lanes. There are bike lanes everywhere. I know Milwaukee is actively working on their bike lane system for the roads to be able to be a little bit more bike friendly there too. Overall, you really can't go wrong in the outdoor space. If being outdoors is really important to you, Madison and Milwaukee are both going to provide lots of opportunities to get out and be active. So let's move to the food scene for just a minute. People describe the Milwaukee food scene as very diverse. There are lots and lots of festivals that are focused around food all year long. We've got German Fest and Italian Fest and any real fest you can think of that brings in lots of good, authentic food. They also have a really good presence of farm to table, which is very, very popular in Wisconsin. We take pride in our farms and we raise some really good food quality. And the farm to table movement is just blowing up in both Madison and Milwaukee areas. Milwaukee is home to some award-winning restaurants. A couple of the more popular and more favored farm to table restaurants in Milwaukee are Story Hill BKC and the Packing House. Madison also has a pretty big presence in farm to table. In Madison, we have a restaurant called Le Trois, which is also award-winning, brings in incredible chefs, as well as places like A Pig in a Fur Coat. It sounds silly, but their food is delicious. Again, Madison and Milwaukee, both, in my opinion, have really incredible food scenes. I can't say that I'm as experienced in the Milwaukee area food scene because I just don't get down there all that often, although every time that I do, I am blown away by the quality and the taste of the food that's there. Madison, on the other hand, I spend a lot of time going out to dinner, and it seems as if I can't keep up with the new restaurants that are coming to town. We always have new chefs coming in and new restaurants popping up, and there's always a fun, new, exciting, great vibe type restaurant to check out. If you're just visiting or if you move here, make sure you're checking out all of the great food that we have here. As far as transportation, if you are wondering about moving to Madison or moving to Milwaukee and you're wondering, how do I get around? Madison is definitely more car dependent than Milwaukee, but they both have some really good public transportation options. Madison relies on the Madison Metro bus system. Now, you're going to be able to get some really affordable fares, and pretty much you can get a route anywhere you need to go in like Madison proper. Once you try to get outside of Madison proper, it's going to be a little bit trickier, and you're going to be more car dependent and potentially looking at something like an Uber or having a car. That being said, if you are living in Madison proper, especially in the downtown area, the Madison Metro bus system is a really reliable option. Milwaukee also has a very reliable bus system called the Milwaukee County Transit System. That's, like I said, a bus system as well. And they also have the Hop Streetcar, which is really fun and really effective if you are just sticking in the downtown area of Milwaukee. Otherwise, the county transit bus system will be what you want to use for getting around the outskirts of downtown. Milwaukee also has a really great shared bicycle system, so you can pick up a shared bike and pay a very minimal fee to hop on and zip around the city. Madison also has that, but they're just a little bit fewer and far between and not as easy to get to. Lastly, real quick, I'm going to touch on cost of living and affordability in both Madison and Milwaukee. As we discussed, the affordability is going to be a lot higher in Milwaukee. When comparing the housing market in Madison proper and Milwaukee proper, you're looking at spending on average around $269,000 for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 15 to 2,000 square foot home. In Madison, that same size property is going to cost you around $400,000. So the bad news is you're going to pay a little bit more to be in Madison, Wisconsin, but I would say the good news is we are, I hate to say recession proof, but because of all of the government jobs that we have, all of the amazing schooling that we have, all of the other big employers that we host in the Madison area, you're really going to do well in your investment in the Madison area. If that is a little bit helpful, if you're looking for affordability, Milwaukee is a really great option. If you are looking more towards what's a great place to invest and maybe put roots down, Madison is also really a great option. It's just going to cost you a little bit more. So I hope that that gave you a little bit of, like I said, a bird's eye view into Madison versus Milwaukee. They are very much different and very much the same in all these areas. So if you have any specific questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. I'm always happy to answer your questions. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next time.